When working on the command line, you will likely need to repeat a previously executed command or some variation of it. Fortunately, the Bash shell provides a way to use previous commands without having to type them in from scratch again. The history command lets you see previously executed commands. The output of the history command includes a list of previously executed commands and the history number associated with that command. You can modify the output using pipes like we saw in a previous video. So I can type history, pipe, and less. Notice that the history commands themselves are now a part of our history. If we want to execute one of the previous commands, we could use an exclamation point with the history number. Exclamation 191. You will often see custom shell prompts that include the history number to make it easier to re-execute these commands. You can also use negative numbers to execute commands relative to the current history number. For example, if we wanted to re-execute that last command, we could use exclamation -1. Another shortcut for the last command is exclamation. Instead of displaying the history of all the commands, you can use the up and down arrows to scroll through history. You can also use Control-P and Control-N, but I just use the arrow keys. If you know, for example, that you want to execute the last cat command, you can also use the exclamation point with the start of the command, like this. If you ever need to modify the command you just executed, you can do that too. For example, let's say we ran this cat on a file, but it turned out that it was the wrong file. We actually wanted file A. We can use the caret character to modify the command like this: caret file1.txt, caret file_a.txt, caret. The text between the first set of carets is the text from the original command, and the text in the second set of carets is the replacement text. If we look at the history command, we see that the shell replaced the file name. You can customize how many commands the shell stores from the current shell session and how many commands from previous sessions are stored in a file. The configuration options are stored in the bash rc startup file we discussed in a previous video. Usually, these defaults are sufficient, but you can change them if needed. You can do more with Bash's command history, such as using specific words in a command instead of the whole command itself. This advanced functionality is beyond the scope of this course, but there are numerous resources on the internet that explain how to use them.